hit the button right.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. I'm gonna get on and let first I'm gonna just talk about a little bit, and I'll make sure we're doing it. So let's see.
Okay. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I am Marissa Price. I am a trauma informed liberatory healing practitioner, helping Black women and femmes rise after traumatic experiences, one of them being toxic job experiences, which is how I came into contact with the Colette Elizabeth here. Watching her videos, commenting on them, it was kind of like it was a reprieve, right? And when I was experiencing in the job that I was in, having gone from pet to threat, and I didn't even know it at the time, started watching Dr. Kambani, Colette Elizabeth, gaining all this information of what I was experiencing. And then from there, kind of just like all of these people who started watching what I was sharing, because I started my YouTube channel being inspired by Colette and Dr. Kamani, um, seeing like all the comments that people were making, Black women globally, that we were actually experiencing this in many different settings, but it was the same treatment over and over and over again. And so that kind of led me to the path that I'm on now of healing, of providing healing support, aligned business strategy for those of us who are sensitive and looking to build businesses in ways that traditional entrepreneurship doesn't really align with us and who we are, and still knowing that it is an option to pursue if you are interested in entrepreneurship. You can do it a different way. And so I offer both types of services now. And I'm so excited. I want to say happy birthday to Colette.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for inviting me.
Of
Yes.
course. And everyone, just in case, well, this will be streaming on Melissa's channel as well.
Mhm.
Melissa's channel is, what was your channel? Marit
Marissa
Hill,
Price Heals. Hmm.
Marissa Hills.
Hmm.
And I'm Colette Elizabeth. My channel is Colette Elizabeth, and today is my 60th birthday. My mom and my dad are they're feeling some kind of way about it. I've explained to my mom that you can no longer pass for 35 because I am claiming my 60 years of life. So she made it real clear that if they don't ask, she's not going to tell, but it is what it is. So I want to say belated happy birthday to Miss Marissa because
Thank
her
you.
birthday was yesterday.
Thank you.
So happy birthday. And just to give a brief background on how this collaboration came about, we have been wanting to collaborate for a very long time, but we
Hmm.
hadn't had a chance to do it. And so, one of the things I thought would be beneficial to both of our communities if Marissa and I talk about some of our life lesson learned, okay,
Hmm.
from the perspective of multi-generational Black women. I am a Gen Xer. A Gen Xer are those born between 1965 and 1980. And Marissa is a millennial.
Millie?
There you
Yes.
go, a millennial. And millennials are born from 1981 to about, it depends on what demographic person is looking at it, but 1980 to 1999. Okay.
Mm.
And so you're going to get a perspective from both of us. Marissa, earlier you spoke or made reference to pet the threat as it relates to when you were in
Mhm.
the toxic work environment that was harming
Yeah.
you. Can you please briefly describe what pet to threat, what that is?
Hmm. So
Young.
this is a phenomenon coined by three Black women professors, Dr. Keisha Thomas, Dr. Rosemary Phelps, Dr. Juanita Johnson Bailey, who essentially like gave so many of us words for what we experience in the workplace. So we often come in as right the coveted person. Everyone wants to talk with us. Everyone wants us on their panel discussions. I was also in a DEI style role, right? And so representing pretty major organization talking about DEI issues. And so we're brought in for our skill set, for our talents. Everyone wants like some of our energy at first. And then someone inevitably gets like triggered by our energy, by our power, by our confidence that we come in with this into this role with. and they try to break us psychologically so often. And it can really do a number on your self esteem, your self image. And so, even recognizing that there is a phenomenon, there's a name for it, can be really helpful for us to understand what we're going through.
I agree with you. I think naming a thing or being able to name a thing or identify it, call it out. I know for me personally, and by the way, Marissa and I are what Dr. Kamani calls toxic job survivors. And we are a trio. Okay, there's myself, there's Dr. Kamani Norrington Sands. Her channel is Lifting as We Climb Consulting Services. Is that
Hmm.
it?
That's
And
it.
then there's Marissa. So we call ourselves the Harriets. I'm the older sister. Kumani's the middle sister, and Marissa, she's our baby sister. So we call her Little Harriet. Okay, so when you hear us say Harriet, we're Sister Harriet. That's our name we've given ourselves. But part of what I wanted to talk about today with you, Marissa, is I just want to talk about some of the changes and the pivots that we've made in our lives, whether it was because we've turned a certain age, like for me, I'm transitioning into my 60th decade of life, or whether
Hmm.
we've changed, where we live, locations, our jobs, our marital status, what have you. I know I went through a divorce sometime years back, okay? But just giving examples of different transitions we go through that impact our lives. And though we may have felt some kind of way when we were going through it, we've gained and learned some lessons from the various things that we've gone through. So having said that, um, what feels different about how you're showing up at this birthday compared to earlier ones? We spoke earlier that yesterday was your birthday, today is my birthday. So I kind of want to just get it started by saying what feels different about how you're showing up at this birthday compared to earlier ones.
Yeah. So I'll say, so this is my 32nd birthday. And so entering 32, I feel much more self assured, um, definitely more confident in who I am. I've shared on my channel, like, there was this pressure I felt all throughout my 20s to try to pack everything in my 20s. And I know a lot of us experience this because I got comments on that video like I experienced the same thing. And so now having like made it past 30, which I was scared of, right? 32 feels like, oh, I feel much more like me, much more sure of who I am, the types of like people and environments I want to surround myself with, and just a level of, I don't know, I feel much more me than I ever have.
Yes,
Um, and I think I know, right, the patriarchy does a number on us, telling us that once we get to a certain age, all these things like we have to fear as women.
right.
um, but I'm excited right now, having like, I'm in my 30s, firmly in my 30s, seeing all of the amazing women like sharing their stories, on 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and just knowing that this sense of self will only continue to grow and solidify, the older I get. And so that's how I'm entering my, or staying like in my 30s, my 32nd year. That's how I'm entering it.
Okay, okay. I know for me, at 60 years old, I do remember um, having those pressures, right? Because of the quote unquote biological clock, getting the education, getting married, buying the home, and having the children, and that it places so much pressure on us, right? That
Yeah.
I feel like so many of us are not really able to enjoy being present in whatever age we are, right? Until we free ourselves from I call it the prison or uh, the handcuff of the right? So
Mhm.
of the
Yes.
biological clock, right? Because it does something to you, and that's what I'm hearing you say. And I could be wrong, so correct me if I am. But
Mhm.
I'm glad that I wish I had been where you are at 32. Understanding, hey, um, there's something beyond that, right? And giving yourself grace to just to be present and to set boundaries and to articulate your own idea of what you want and when you want it. So yes. So the next
Yes.
next question is yours. Yes.
Yes. I'd love to ask what peace looks like for you now entering your 60s, right? Not in theory, but in your day to day life. If anything comes up around maybe things that you're saying no to, things that you're embracing, things you're looking forward to in this new era.
So I love that question. I literally was just talking to my oldest daughter who is 28 years old, and she's currently applying and getting acceptance to certain PhD programs. So and when we were talking today, we were talking about how I'm at the point in my life where uh, I don't feel guilt to saying
Mm-hmm.
no anymore. I grew up as I'm the oldest daughter. I'm the oldest child,
Mm-hmm.
actually. I'm the oldest child.
Yeah.
And on my mom's side, I'm the oldest grandchild, oldest great grandchild, and oldest great great grandchild. So I grew up feeling a lot of pressure to, to do things that I didn't necessarily always want to do. I felt guilty. I felt like I had to do certain things. So what peace looks like for me, and I want to say this too. Then when I became a mom, I felt guilt. I felt guilty because I
Mhm.
had to take them to the daycare. Then I felt guilty when they were older that I couldn't always go to all of the things that they were involved in. I made it to 99% of them, but I felt guilty when I missed 1% of the time of maybe a game or,
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
So freedom for me at this age means I don't, I have decided to divorce myself from guilt this very year.
Ooh.
Right? And so there are some things that I honestly just don't give a shit about. Excuse my language,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
like, um, when people, I'll give you an example. When people found out I was retired, um, people in their mind, people think, okay, people count other people's coins, but they also count other people's time, right?
Yes.
Some people, "Oh, she's retired, she's available, she could do this, she could do that." And sometimes I initially would do things because I felt guilty if I said no.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now I'm like, no,
Yeah.
and I
Mhm.
don't feel guilty. That is a peace of mind for me, is
Mhm.
knowing that I have the power to say no and have the courage to say no and stand 10 toes down, right? And
Yes.
not explain my no. I'm not
Mhm.
explaining it. I'll give you an example. When First Lady Michelle Obama, they tried to give her a lot of problems because she didn't show up to a certain inauguration, and people wanted to know why.
Uh-huh.
And then when she did her interviews, she didn't explain why. And I was like, that's right. That's
Yes.
what peace and freedom looks like. You don't have to
Mhm.
explain your why.
You don't. I love that. Yes, I am very much still healing from people pleasing as a survival response, right? Even like combing through my experiences in educational environments, being bullied. Overdoing was the path that I took so often for validation, right? And
Right.
so just having to like come into the truth that no, I don't have to say yes to everyone. My energy is sacred and I'm guarding it, right? It's for me first. I think
Right.
that's been like a tremendous shift for me in my 30s. Like I have to benefit from my energy first before anyone else does.
And if I could share, if I could say this, um,
Hmm.
that I'm so glad that you're learning that so young, because
Yeah.
many of us, Black women, we don't necessarily learn, and we definitely don't practice and embrace that, right? And I personally believe that a lot of that has to do, and it is a fruit of the slavery tree. For
Hmm.
example, we had children, right?
Yeah.
And maybe the owner, the slave master had children, right? I'll call
Hmm.
them human trafficker had children, and
Yes.
they forced the enslaved black woman who just had a child in many cases to become what's called a wet nurse. Wet
Hmm.
nurses had to feed the slave masters or the traffickers children,
Yes.
breastfeed them from her
Hmm.
own body. Her milk that she produced, she did not own that milk, right?
Yes.
And so, to the point where they had to not even feed their children first. They
Hmm.
had the traffickers' children first, right? And that baby got fed. And once that baby was fed, then she could feed her own child, right? And not only that, they selected which breast was exclusively, yes,
Wow.
exclusively for the trafficker's child only. So your baby, your
Mm.
own baby, if the trafficker chose a left breast for feeding, then you couldn't feed your baby as the mother, okay, from your left breast. So saying all that to say, we in many times we have been conditioned historically and ancestrally in this country to put ourselves last, to
Yeah.
put our family last, to put our needs last, because we're not always afforded or respected enough to even have the self agency that many of us are just discovering. Hey, I don't have to do this. It's my breast. You ain't gonna fit
Yes.
on it. You got to pay me if you know what I'm trying.
Ooh.
I know
Yes.
that I know that that's a long way of answering that, but the fact that you're learning that at 32
Yeah.
makes me feel proud to
Mm-hmm.
know that we are getting it and we're getting it at a younger age.
Yes. Mm. Thank you so much.
Of course.
And I'll say it's been like such a joy, such a privilege to be in community spaces where I'm able to learn these lessons because I hear that so often from other people like, you're so young, learning these things. Because I intentionally surround myself with people who I look up to, right? I see the pathways and the decisions um, that so many incredible like YouTube creators, women in general are making to center themselves in their
Yes.
lives. And like I intentionally move towards those spaces because that's the direction that I want to go into. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yes, of course, of course. So I think I don't know who has the next question, and we could just free flow this. So if you want to ask
Yeah.
the next question, feel free. Um,
Yeah. I guess I'll talk about gifts since
okay.
it's your birthday today. The best gift that you've ever received.
You know, I I was thinking about that question, and I have to say, if I'm honest, the best gift that I ever received, one of the best gifts I ever received, but the most recent best gift I ever received is when I gave myself left that toxic job
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
after almost 30 years.
Yeah.
The gift was the gift of peace of mind, and the gift and the permission to untether myself from that situation and to progress towards healing. That was
Mm-hmm.
the best gift. And I still am reaping the benefits of that gift. This YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, is one of the benefits reaped from the gift of me untethering myself, escaping the plantation, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it's the best gift ever.
Ooh. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that.
of
I'm, tr-
course.
I'm trying to think of. Yes, I'll say the same. Right. So, ooh, it was so scary. It was so scary that process of first of all, like trying to understand what I was in,
Right.
And that's like the beauty of YouTube and Black women YouTube creators, specifically, because we share information, we share resources, how we got out, right, what we were experiencing, so that other people can learn and know that it's not just them in the
Right.
environment, because it can be so isolating,
Yes.
so draining. And so I'll say the same, like taking that leap of courage and faith to try something that I'd never done before, entrepreneurship, to get out of that environment. And then that path has led me to so many people, like collaborating with Dr. Kamani,
Right.
working as a virtual assistant, now transitioning into being a coach, like a healing coach.
Hmm.
Um, that journey could not have been possible had I not taken that leap, which was so scary. But I knew I had to get out of it. So I'll say the same thing.
Yes. Yes. And can I add something to my answer too?
Hmm.
Um, my courage. I think I want to say I had a two-part gift. This the first part of the gift, I gave you the second part, was that was my daughter lending her courage to me,
Mm-hmm.
because my oldest daughter is the one who um, essentially forced me to retire. She said, "Mommy, you've got to go.
Yeah.
You've got to go. You've got to go. You have to leave this job." I was
Wow.
trying to stay to get a bigger pension. Pension is decent, but to get a larger one if I stayed a couple more months or so. And
Hmm.
she was like, but you may not make it out.
Wow.
She said, how is that going to be helpful if you are not here? Because I was having chest pains, headaches. They had to call
Yeah.
the ambulance several times for me. And so my daughter's um, my daughter's courage is what I
Mhm.
used to leave. She gave me the courage. Both of them, both of my children, they gave me the courage to leave. I was sat
Mhm.
down like I used to sit them down as children.
Mhm.
They sat me down.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, so that is when somebody loans you their courage, which we do all the time, right? That's what we call support, community, what have you. Um, that's a gift that's priceless, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Ooh. Yes. Can I ask you, like, what your reaction to that was? Were you open? Were you receptive at that stage?
I think, Marissa, at that stage, I was so much an autopilot
Mm-hmm.
that the abuse and the harassment and the discrimination and the bullying that I was experiencing, yes, it impacted me, mentally, emotionally, and physically. But I was in such a state of being an autopilot that I was like, I'm just going to push through it, and they're not going to push me off my job. I've been here almost 30 years, da 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 da. That was my mindset.
Yeah.
So initially, it was hard for me to accept that, you know, I had to leave. So one of
Mhm.
the things that I now understand, I didn't necessarily understand it then, but one day I realized that I was not that getting out is not the same thing as running away. And sometimes the most powerful thing that you can do
Mhm.
is walk away,
That's so true. Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, initially it was difficult. Um, Pride, right? Because I don't want to be pushed out. But emotionally and spiritually, once everything lined up, and I knew that I knew that I knew that I knew that it was just time.
Yeah.
And my children were like holding their hand out to me, like, Mommy, take our hand. In
Wow.
fact, my oldest daughter stood over me because we were working from home, remote work, and the girls were home. I had been empty nester, but then, COVID happened. So the
Mm-hmm.
girls came back home from school. They were going to working on their graduate. One was an undergrad and the other one was working on her graduate degree. So everybody was home. Okay. And My daughter literally stood over me because I had to apply for retirement online, and I
Mhm.
completed all of the online application, and I just stood there and looked at the application. I hadn't even hit enter. And
Mm.
so my
Mhm.
daughter literally stood over me and said, "Now hit the button, mommy." And I just looked
Mm.
at it. She said, "Mommy, hit the button."
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and she just took my hand and she said, "Now hit the button." And I hit the button. Yeah.
Mhm.
When I did that, I lost about 900 pounds.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
900 pounds that I didn't even know I was carrying because I was so used to carrying it.
Yeah.
And my retirement date wasn't going to be for, I decided to backdate it. So I backdated it to like a week or two from then. But just knowing that I don't have to be here. It
Ooh.
just, yeah, girl, it just,
Mhm.
so yes, it was hard initially. I was open, but I was still very, um, stern that I'm not going to get run out of here. Right. But
Mhm.
yeah, I hope that
Mm.
answers your question.
It did. You said something so powerful. I want to make sure I have it. Leaving is not the same as running away.
No, it is not. Running away to me, the way I think of it is somebody is chasing you out of something. And I'm not saying running away is a bad thing or a good thing, okay? But they're not the same as walking away, okay? So
Mhm.
running away is you're pushed out, and I was pushed out, right? Somebody's chasing you, you're running. Walking away is I am taking self agency, self advocacy, and I
Mhm.
am leaving on my own terms,
Yeah.
period. And not only am I going to, leave, I am going to set the stage for my departure and my exit.
Mhm.
This is what I did.
Mhm.
In fact, I sometimes talk to some people at the job, and some of them say, people still talk about me. They still say they like how I did it. They said one day, because normally what happens, I work for a state agency, a government agency, and I
Mhm.
was at upper management, mid management, upper management, depending regionally, I was an executive manager, okay, because I have my
Mhm.
own office. On the big scheme of things in the agency, some considered me middle, some senior. I was definitely senior management. And
Mhm.
so what happened is when people in that level retire or going to retire, there's an announcement made. So and so is retiring effective, you know, maybe usually 30 days out. Well,
Mhm.
my announcement was sent, I was gone already because I told them, I want you to send it on this day. I sent a personal email to my staff. My staff were the managers because I managed managers, and to my indirects, I sent an email to them. But as far as statewide, I was like, nope, send it this day, and I was gone literally.
Wow.
That's what I because that was a
Mhm.
part of my statement. That's
Mhm.
what I mean by walking away. I am
Mhm.
going to design how my leaving is going to be shared. And that's what I did.
Ooh, I love
And they
that.
say that people say they still talk about it to this day.
Mhm. Mm. That's so funny. I spoke with someone at my previous employer. I think it was like mid last year, maybe like 6 months ago. And she told me people still have a screenshot because when I left, I did a LinkedIn post about what actually had happened to me in that job. And people are still sharing it with other Black employees because unfortunately it's still happening
Oh, wow.
to Black employees within the organization.
Wow.
And I think that speaks to right leadership abilities when people are still talking about what you did,
That's right.
right?
Mhm.
And the bold moves that you made. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. And, what's that old saying? I can show you better than I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And they had to get three managers to fill when I left initially, they had to get, because I was on some high profile projects and things, and Had to get 3 people.
Mhm.
Not that I'm all that, but just sometimes we don't realize the impact and the influence we have because people try to tell us that we're not impactful,
Ooh, that's so
we're
true.
not valuable, right?
Mhm.
Even though they know we're valuable, they don't want
Mhm.
us to think we know we valuable, right? And so
Yes.
that's where the I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you comes in, right? And that's
Mm.
where, owning your narrative, owning my own exit narrative was important to me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I remember them asking me, "Do you want a going away party?" I said, I don't want anything. I don't even want the certificate. I just want my check.
Mhm.
I don't want a party. I don't want any of that because I don't believe in fake stuff.
Yes.
And I don't want to spend an extra day here.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's that pressure, as you mentioned, like to perform, and to your point that everyone else knows that we're knows our influence and our power, and yet they flip it to make us believe that we're not powerful or influential, which is the entire like from pet to threat phenomenon, kind of making you doubt everything that you came in with, your entire skill set, to the point where you now have to rebuild your entire self after you leave that environment. It's psychological warfare.
Right. It is psychological warfare.
Hmm.
Go ahead and go to the next one, whatever you want to say, because I need to cough again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me get to my list. Well, I love this question. What part of yourself did you have to unlearn to become who you are now? Any pieces that you've had to release, let go of, to come into this version of yourself now entering your 60s?
I think part of what I have struggled with, and I'd like to think that as I start this new chapter is perfectionism.
Hmm.
Okay, and the reason why I'm having to unlearn it is because it's just so ingrained in who I am as a person and how I was brought up. You know, terms like black excellence. People who believe in that, that's fine,
Hmm.
but that brings on an ideal of perfectionism for some people, right?
Yes.
Which can be a barrier for some of us. Maybe some people it's not, but for me, I'm one of these people who I things would have to be perfect for me to move forward. And of course, I got a lot of stuff done, so things weren't always perfect. But then what would happen, even though whatever it is I had my eye on doing turned out okay, I would still, after the fact, say this could have been better or that could have been better. And I'll give you a
Hmm.
perfect example. When I was working on my master's degree, and I had to write my final project. Okay, my thesis, my master's thesis. My thesis chair, she would say, Colette, I'm reading what you've written, and
Hmm.
you could move on to the next step. Why haven't you done that yet? And I would say, because I need to fix this, I need to fix that, I need to fix this. And I never forgot what she told me. She said, there's two type of thesi. There's a done one, a completed one,
Hmm.
and there's a perfect one.
Wow.
Which one do you want to do? So
Hmm.
I got my master's, so we know which one I got. You know what I'm saying? So that's something
Yeah.
that I've had to unlearn, right? Is
Hmm.
to believe that everything has to be perfect before going forward. Yes.
That's huge. Hmm.
Hmm. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. So, what about you?
Mm. That perfectionism is a huge one. I think also like in those same lines, attaching my self worth to what I could do for other people, and
Okay.
really having to tell myself in a practice over time, like, no, I'm worthy just because I am, just because I'm here. I don't have to go above and beyond, like seek validation, seek approval in all these places to get my worth from other people, because then it's fickle, right? If other people have it
Mhm.
in their hands and they're asking you to jump through all these hoops, chase the carrot, really being solid in my inherent self worth has
Mhm.
been something I've had to really unlearn, which has required like deep identity shifts.
Right.
Telling myself that no, I'm worthy just because I'm here, no matter what I produce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the value factor for many of us, especially people who feel deeply and who are high achievers,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
um, that's really a hard one for us because a lot of times, and I'll say based on my experience, we attach our value to what we achieve and what we produce.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so learning that that does not determine our value. You're valuable outside of what you produce. And so
Mm-hmm.
going back to retiring, one of the hardest things I had to do and deal with and just get through when I retired was understanding that I am not a manager.
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a manager.
Yep.
Okay. And a manager does not, that title is not the only thing that I am. And so again, my value system was linked to my position as a manager,
Yes. That resonates. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Because people tell you get kudos, oh, you doing that, you get kudos. And not
Mm-hmm.
that you need kudos, but everybody, most people, you know, we want people to be proud of us, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we have many of us tied our values to the things that we do and the things we produce, which again,
Mm-hmm.
I believe is one of the fruits of the slavery tree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what
Absolutely.
about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having to unlearn that, right? That no matter what I produce, because it very much is rooted in enslavement, right? When we're in these work environments, constantly like the pressure to do more, to give more. I was in a position like where I was doing like extra things outside of my role. Again, being in like a DEI style role, we give so much of ourselves as Black women in the workplace, and really having to separate myself from my title, which I had worked so hard to achieve at a very young age, and then having to like separate that from my identity to pursue a different path was so, so difficult, right? Because that identity of my title had become fused with me as a person. And it's a process of like separating those two, like you said, like this is my role, this is my job, but I exist outside of that. And because we live within this system that tells us our identity is what we do, that's easier said than done,
Yes,
right? Mm-hmm.
that's right. That's right. And I think that um, so for both of us, it sounds like to me, the thing that's different, and I'll ask another question afterwards, but the thing that I find that we have in common, even though there's almost a 30-year age difference,
Mm-hmm.
and me being a Generation Xer and you being a millennial, is that actual that path to just becoming and being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of all of the accomplishments and accolades and we both have graduate degrees and we
Yeah.
both have done some, I'm sure, fantastic things that has benefited groups of people, right? But outside of that, we are individuals who are coming into our own. For me, it's a different, it's a new own, because I'm entering a new decade. I'm entering 60. Turning 60 today.
Yeah.
That means I
Mhm.
was born. I was looking, and I'll give you an example. We lived through so many transitions, right? And so adapting to those transitions and still being able to be who we are
Mhm. Yeah.
is important. So I want to
Yes.
say, I see a few comments, and I may have more comments, but I want to say hey to Mara, hey to Level Up Single Mom 6143. Hey, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming. Did you want to add anything or ask the next question? Oh, thank you, Ashley Crease 5232. Happy birthday, ladies.
Yes. Let's see. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Now, see, we gonna need a double, triple live stream. Okay, we will, because I've done some things, and I haven't done some other things. But I think the most valuable encouragement that I would give my younger self is that your dreams, your thoughts, your feelings, they matter.
Mm.
And you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Okay.
Mhm.
Because there were so many times, Marissa, I don't know about you, that I was living and operating my day to day life out of fear.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. And fear controlled me. It
Yeah.
controlled a lot of my life. Now, in the church, we say fear is false evidence appearing real.
Mm.
It's
Mhm.
not necessarily real, it just appears to be real. Right.
Right.
And so I would say that understand that you were already created with everything that you need.
Mhm.
Like, you don't need to be fixed. Okay. You don't need to be rebuilt.
Uh-huh.
You might need to take some time and rest and but you are not broken. You don't need to be modified. None of that stuff. Right. And the other thing I would say, and I'll leave it here, is to protect your circle.
So
Everyone
important.
who smiles in your face,
Mhm.
okay? There's this old saying that every hi is not hello.
Mm.
So being careful about who we allow access to us. And once we do allow people access to us, and when I say us, I mean our space, our peace, okay?
Mhm.
To set the boundaries. You hear a lot about boundaries nowadays. I learned something from my 28-year-old daughter about boundaries. She said that she had read or learned that boundaries are not what we put on other people, but they're how we determine that we're going to experience a thing.
Mm. Mhm.
And when you think about it that way, it's kind of like a cloak, a cloak,
Mhm.
invisible cloak of protection. When you
Mhm.
have that and you know what they are, you can move without fear.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What about you? We have somebody. I'm gonna. Oh, they said I'm gonna be true. I love that handle. She said two of my absolute favorite creators. So good to see this collaboration. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Level Up Single Mom 6143 say, Ba- I think she said, baby girl sounds wise. Yeah, I think they
Mm.
talking about you, baby girl. Baby girl is wise. I think she talking about you. But
Or
you're,
maybe your daughter.
huh?
Or maybe your daughter. We're
Oh,
about
them
the
boundaries.
boundaries.
Yeah, you know what? Level up. You right. Cause she said, cause she from my camp. Level up single moms. I was a single mom. So okay, I got it. Okay. I'm getting it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, she said your daughter. I love it. Go ahead. I interrupted you. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say discernment. I would love to give my younger self that advice. Kind of along the similar lines, right? To discern, to vet environments, people who you give your energy to,
Mm,
and know that you don't have to give everyone your energy. Not everyone is deserving of your presence. And part of that, like healing for me, I've had to like recover my self worth from so many experiences that tried to chip away at it, that told me that I just had to accept any and everything that came into my
right.
space. And so now at this age, being like, oh no, I am inherently worthy. That means I can create the net to determine what comes through and what stays out. I don't just have to accept any and everything. I would also tell my younger self that life goes on,
Right.
because it did feel like it has felt for so long that there was this cliff that I was going to fall off of. Right when I got to a certain age, that things were just going to be, I don't know, an end to it. But life continues on past these experiences, past the trauma that we endure throughout our lives. Like life keeps going on,
It does.
and that gives me like a sense of being rooted and grounded now at this age, that I can make it through the difficult times because life will continue to go on.
It does. It really does. And I like what you said. Um, that being discerning about who you allow access to you. And some people listening may think that you just mean a man or something. We mean everyone, women, men.
Everyone.
I had a
Uh-huh.
friend that I've had to, um, I'll say our relationship has run its course. Person's a
Mm-hmm.
great person, kind person, but it no longer serves me. Not that we had a transactional relationship, we did not, but I have decided that if I have to keep asking why to myself about certain things, that's too much work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm retired.
Yes.
It's too much work, and I'm not gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I wanted to say is, you mentioned something about understanding, or I probably am going to say it wrong, but getting back to always having been worthy,
Mm-hmm.
valuable. One of the things I say, and I have said, I remember somebody had said something about, "Ooh, you look, you know, you look different." They said you looking better. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you. I think they said you're pretty or something like that, and you're looking good and you're looking better. You're looking better now. And I said, I've always been pretty. You just seeing better
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about that?
That. Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I think when you become, people say they use the word woke as a negative thing. Now we know in our community, we know where that word woke came from. The
Mm-hmm.
is being co-opted by folks who don't know what it means, where it came from.
Uh-huh.
We know. All people
Mm-hmm.
need to do is listen to Marvin Gaye from the 60s. I was born in the 60s. And he's been telling us to wake up everybody. Now, I mean, that was LTD. And, but the point I'm making is when you wake up to who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's power in that.
There is. Yeah.
There's power in that because it's like we look all these different places. We're told to look different places, but then when you alone with yourself, you realize I already had that.
Yes.
I already
Uh-huh.
had that. I'm already that thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
That's
already
so
that.
important.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm already that thing. That person or whatever. So I'm going to read a few of the comments and then you can take the next question. It says, Marissa is
Mm-hmm.
wise to all. Level up single mom says that. And then I'm going to be true to me. She says, your daughter, Marissa, and you too, baby girls.
Mm-hmm.
I love to still be a baby girl. I know that's right. I receive it. Thank you. Thank you so much. You can take the next one.
Yeah. So, what kind of ancestor do you hope to be? It's a very deep question.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of the questions I sent you?
Oh,
Or did
it's
you have that? That
I
must be
added a
yours.
few.
That must be yours. I don't remember that question. I
Yes.
love this question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my grandmother, who passed away a couple years ago, was my biggest cheerleader. Okay. And she is now an ancestor.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I used to always say, Grandmother, why aren't you ever angry? Because she was always smiling. Everybody who knew my grandmother knew Carrie is always smiling. Her nickname was Belle. And my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother told me, because I think I'm the most important person on this earth and always have,
Yes.
she sure did, and always have felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
And when she said that, I thought, dang, how is she able to do that? Well, she didn't ask anybody. She didn't ask
Mm-hmm.
anybody. So the type
Mm-hmm.
of ancestor that I would like to be, Marissa, is I would like to be remembered or be the type of ancestor that laid the groundwork or revealed the groundwork, or encouraged women from our community that it's okay to be just who you are.
Ooh,
And it's
yes.
okay not to be everything to everybody all at once, all the time. It's okay. Okay. You
Mm-hmm.
can still give to the community if that's what you want to do. But giving to yourself, you need to do that and can do that unapologetically.
Mm-hmm.
You can still, do all the things if you want, but taking time to not even fill your cup, to replace your cup, to get a new cup, whatever you want to do, or to do nothing. It's okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And you are not the things that other people, you're not limited to the things that other people think you are limited to. Okay.
That is so
You're not.
important. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are limitless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are, talented. You are skilled. You are loved. And you absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Know that. And the other thing is not allowing a fake jewelry appraiser tell you you're not a diamond. Just because they don't know what a real diamond looks like, maybe they don't know that a real diamond, starts off as coal, and it's the
Mm-hmm.
that makes it a diamond. Maybe when they met you, you were coal. Just because they didn't see your value does not mean you don't have value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. Right. So I hope that answered your question a little bit.
It did. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that. That was powerful.
Thank you. What
Thank
about you? What type
you.
of answer?
Ooh, I hope to leave behind my experiences like in a book form. So I wrote one book of affirmations already during the time when I was exiting the toxic job, and that has been helpful for me to go back and see what I was experiencing at that time. But I would love to write more books, more things that can stay past my time on earth for other people, specifically Black girls and women, to learn from and to see that they're not alone. Because part of this journey has of healing has been me revisiting the works of Zora Neale Hurston, the speeches of Fannie Lou Hamer, right? Black women activists over centuries who have shared their work that now I'm able to attach it to my experience in 2026 and beyond. So I would love to leave, I guess, like works of art that are based on my experience for other people to learn from and know that they're not alone in what they're experiencing. Oh,
I think. Oh, oh, thank you. You want to? Can you see the comments?
let me see. Oh, yeah. Yep. I
Ah,
see
they just start
the
popping
super
up.
chat.
That's so
Thank
cool.
you.
So let me do a few of the chats. Do you mind? Marissa's why? Oh, we read that. Okay. So Tea Time Beauty says, "Oh, this is so kind. My two favorite educators. You both been companions through my growth phase. Thank you. You are so welcome, beautiful." And then
Mhm.
she follows something with emoji, something crazy that I probably said or you said. Um, so, oh, okay. I'm going to be true to me. She said, I love this question. I think she's talking about that beautiful question that you had about ancestors.
Mhm.
And then Tea Time Beauty said, you have already impacted me that way, Colette Elizabeth. Oh my gosh.
Aw.
Thank you. And you know what? I'm going to just real quick say something real quick before I move on. This is the reason that I do the channel.
Mhm.
Um, and Marissa can attest that it is hard doing content.
It is.
Even when you like what you're talking about, it's hard to
Yeah.
stay encouraged when you're encouraging people. And, not that we're chasing the views and all that stuff. I mean, that stuff is good, right? But sometimes it's hard, right? And so to get a comment that you've already impacted me that way, and I know that's for me and Marissa, it means the world to us,
Mhm.
right? Did you want to add anything to that, Marissa?
No, like it is like to your point, it is difficult at times to continue like because this is hard work that we're doing, right? We're sharing our experiences, we're having to go back to the things that we survived, that we made it out of to try to assist other people on their journeys. So it can be a difficult thing to be a content creator, specifically in this realm. But like all the comments that we receive, the love, the suggestions, the resources, because this is a very much like community sharing environment, um, really does make it worth it for me as well. So I thank you for sharing that, Colette.
Yes, yes, thank
Hmm.
you. And so we have another comment from Ashley Crease 5232. She says, love that. Give to yourself first. Tea Time Beauty said, boom, boom. Uh, I'm going to be true to me. Says, hey, family, let's make sure to honor our sisters with a thumbs up. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
reminding them that. I forget to ask for that. And I'm going to be true. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. First super chat for my birthday. Hey.
Hey.
And so Lori James 6902 says, hello, ladies. Hi. How you doing? And then let's see, level up single mom 6143 says, that's why I'm here. I adore creators that treat the public uh, like people and not just a means to an end. Thank you too.
Mm.
Yes, yes. And then
Thank
Sambri,
you.
yeah, thank you. And Sambri Bliss says, hello, ladies. Hey. So we have a few more minutes, and we can go over a little bit more if we want. Oh, and level up.
Oh,
Oh, thank you for that super chat. It's my birthday today. For those who are just coming in, I turned 60 years old, and it was Marissa's birthday yesterday. She turned 32. So that's why the title says Conversations Between Generations. Because we're different generations. I'm generation Gen X, and Marissa is.
millennial.
There we go. So you got them
Yeah.
both in the house, right? Okay. So anything else you want to add?
Mm. I think to just with the things that we're experiencing now, it's overwhelming, it's chaotic, right? So often, but to have like a grounded sense of who you are, as you mentioned, Colette, this society, this world likes to tell us that we need to seek these things outside of ourselves, but just to sit with the fact that we were already designed intentionally, like perfectly. We don't need these other things that we're told that we need. And if you have a very firm and rooted understanding of who you are, that can help you navigate some of these things that we're experiencing, so that you don't feel like you have to seek validation in places that harm you or for people that don't deserve your energy. Just telling yourself like you are already enough just as you are. I think I wish I would have been told that so much more often as a Black girl growing up.
Right.
That would have helped me as a Black woman now. But I love the fact that we're sharing this openly, our experiences and how we got to the place of really feeling like we're enough.
Right.
Finally.
Finally. And that's I'll say that finally. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. It's okay. Like you said, it'd been nice to know things earlier, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what I like about learning things, and there's one thing to learn something, and then there's another to get an epiphany of what you learn. There's things that I would see for years, and then one day out of the blue, I'm like, oh, that's what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
What do we call that? The lights flash on moments, right?
Yes.
And so what I love, even though some of the journey that I've taken, pathways I've taken, have been very painful and hard. Not
Mhm.
all of them. I've had a good life. I have a good life, right?
Mhm.
I'm very, very blessed, right?
Yeah.
Um, Understanding that everything lays the groundwork for who we are becoming.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It just does. And a part of being an ancestor, I know you asked the question, what type of ancestor do you want to be? My experiences, your experiences lie the pathway, the bridge, the breadcrumbs for those who come behind us, who
Mm-hmm.
walk alongside us. And so they can benefit from the things that we have experienced, good, bad, and indifferent. And so I like the fact that um, platforms like YouTube give us an opportunity to go straight to our community, going around gatekeepers, right? So we can say, "Hey, sis, look at me. I,
Mm-hmm.
I went through this stuff, but I'm still here."
Mm-hmm.
They could look at you and say, hey, you could say, hey, sis, I went through this stuff. And we look different. We're from different
Mm-hmm.
parts of the country, right?
Yeah.
But we're here. We're still doing the things. And I think that gives people a sense of hope. That's why representation matters.
It does.
That's
Mm-hmm.
why it matters.
Yeah. Because you can see the side,
That's
right? You
right.
can see someone that went through it, made it through, is sharing their blueprint, which is rare, right? Because we live in a
Yep.
society with a lot of gatekeepers who
Yes.
like to keep information behind the scenes. And just to be on a platform like this where we're sharing openly, like, no, this is what I did, this is a path that I took, so that you don't have to start from scratch if you're in the same situation and you can see that there's another side to what you're going through.
That's right.
So important.
And one of the things that I love, 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 love about us Black women, we don't care nothing about no gate. Girl, we'll shovel under that gate.
Yes.
We'll walk,
Uh-huh.
we'll go around that gate.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wrap our hair, our braids up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Put our tennis shoes on and tie our dress in the middle if we need to. We'll climb that gate. And not
Yes.
only do we do all that, we'll help you over the gate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just keep it real. Some of us can just pick a lock to a gate. What I love is how it doesn't matter the barriers that have been thrown at us. We doing the thing.
Yes.
We doing
Yes.
the thing. And
Uh-huh.
we need to give ourselves flowers, give each other flowers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I just want to take a few minutes to give flowers to everybody who's on this live, who's watching the replay in the future. If you are a Black woman, I don't care if you haven't been through anything. Your stuff means something to you. Give yourself
Mhm.
some flowers,
Yes.
and then if you want to be real cold about it, give another sister some flowers just because.
Mm-hmm.
Just because.
Yeah.
That's part of one of the ancestors I want to be known for. She gave flowers just because. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So I'm gonna read a few of the comments, and then Marissa, I want you to talk a little bit about the summit that's coming up, and then maybe we can talk about when the part two will be. So let me go back up and say, let me see. Okay. So so we have somebody who dreaming on here. So some Marie Bliss said millennial is the best generation. All right, now did you hear me talk about being woke? Come on, wake up, baby girl. You talk to a Gen Xer, honey. I love it. I love millennials. I love them. Lori James 6902 said happy birthday. Thank you. We say both of us say thank you.
Yes.
I'm going to be true to me. Says watching the two of you over the years have helped me to be affirmed as it relates to working in toxic systems as a Black woman. I have laughed and cried and released. Thank you. You are so welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome. And you know what, sis? You doing the thing. We giving you your flowers. Marissa, did you
Yes.
want to say something to her?
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Um, Again, like any comment that we receive, the feedback is so helpful on this journey because it is difficult. Sometimes, like sharing your story, sharing your like the parts of healing that aren't like content ready or don't feel like you want to put them out there, but you know they're going to help someone else. So just to hear that like affirmation resonates. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes, thank you so much. Tea Time Beauty says, I needed all the hope I could get to see life beyond a toxic workplace. Yes, yes. You know, what toxicity does is it blinds us. So for me, I wear glasses, right? So that toxicity, it gets your lenses dirty, right? So you don't see things clearly all the time. And part of not seeing things clearly is not being able to sometimes see that there is hope down, like the old people used to say, down yonder.
Mm-hmm.
There's hope. There's hope
Mm-hmm.
because we have choices, right? Now, I'm not going to pretend that we're coming from, our life's experiences, in different level, different things. Some of us have responsibilities. Some of us can't just up and quit a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of us cannot transfer a job. We're stuck on this toxic job, until we figure out what's different. I'm not going to say that, but being able to find a little string of hope. I know for me, it gave me strength as a single mom with two children
Mm-hmm.
to support being on the job. I hate it. That was literally killing me. Just a little string of hope would help me. My girls, looking at them gave me hope. Did you want to add to that?
Ooh, I think YouTube. YouTube gave me a lot of hope because again, I had no idea what I was experiencing. Um, Having got everything that people told me to get to be in the role that people told me to get, right, and then facing this backlash and essentially like being like pushed out passive aggressively in the role that I was in was like earth shattering. And I had no idea what I was experiencing. And so
Right,
being able to come to YouTube and listen to Colette's channel, listen to Dr. Kamani's channel, and see, put the pieces together for myself. Oh, this is what's happening. And no, it's not me. I was able to finally like externalize what I was experiencing. And that was a pathway to healing and all these other things that I've experienced, just knowing that it was not me. Nothing was wrong with me, but it was the environment.
right, right,
Mm-hmm.
right. That's good. That's good. Never tea time beauty said never too old to hop a fence. You know that's right. If it's gonna keep us out, we'll block it. Oh, look at this one. So Wealthy Mac 1377 said happy birthday. You guys, that's my mama. Hi, mama.
Oh, hi.
That's my mama. Okay. She gonna be in the comments. I was talking about you earlier, mama. You might not have seen it. I don't think you signed in yet. It's all good stuff. So Marie Bliss gave us a bunch of beautiful flowers.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep it true to you. She responded to tea time, never too old to hop a fence. And she laughing. That's right. So can somebody else said, oh, Level Up Single Mom 6143 said, hi. I think she said hi to Mama. Mama, somebody said hi
Mhm.
to you. So, Marissa, do you want to talk briefly about the summit that you all have coming up? You and Dr. Kamani, do you want to talk about it on here, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I can mention it. So it will be held May 1st through the 3rd this year. So this is our third annual summit. And the focus this year is preparation is power. Knowing that there are so many things that we can't control in the environment that we're in. We're being forced out, we're being laid off, right, as Black women. How can we put together a plan of preparation for ourselves, for our families, for our communities that we can share, right, with other people to navigate these times? And that is our power, right? So really leaning into the options that we have to generate income, to if we need to revise our resume, in participate in the job search, and different ways to do that and protect your psyche at the same time. Leaning into well-being if we are healing from a traumatic work experience or being pushed out suddenly and not having the time to plan or put things together. That is traumatic as well. And so that is the focus of the summit this year. Preparation is power, building income options, stability in uncertain times. And so that will be May 1st through the 3rd, 2026 this year. And yeah, if you'd like to sponsor the summit, you can reach out to me, hello@marissaprice.me. And yeah, I'm excited to start announcing the speaker list once we get all the behind the scenes things together. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. We had over 300 people attend in 2024 and 2025. So we're hoping that at least 500 people attend this year, given what we're experiencing as Black women.
Yes, yes. And I will, Marissa will send me the links and things, and I will put the links in the description of this live. I want to say, in her channel, you say your channel again, Marissa?
Marissa Price Heals on YouTube.
And that's in the description. I will also link it probably in my notes. The other thing I want to say is I do have on my channel, Colette Elizabeth, I have a Create Your Personal Vision free workshop and free 5-day challenge. It's there, it's a whole playlist. It's very good information. That's going to be there for a limited time only. I will be pulling that down, making it private. I'm not sure when, but please take advantage of that. That was a whole workshop that we spent 2 days crafting our personal vision and mission statement. And then we spent 5 days on the challenge where we actually went step by step together to craft both of those things. That's very, very important because one of the things that we know is once we leave a toxic job, or rather we leave a situation, or if we're just, starting anew, having a clear vision is very, very important. So I will also put, well, actually the links they're already in the description here to those playlists. Okay. It's one playlist. I put everything together. I even did a video explaining how to prepare for the, uh, the challenge and the workshop. The other thing is, Marissa, do you want to tell them about the part two, or whatever, that there will be one, or will there?
Yeah, there will be. I think we just have to schedule it. But yes, this has been amazing just to talk through some of these life topics because I don't see this done a lot.
Right.
But we have so much to share with each other just from our different perspectives. And I just know that it's healing to be able to process some of this right in real time with people in the chat, with you, Colette. So yeah, there will be a part two on my channel, maybe in February. We'll see.
Okay. Give
Yeah.
me a date and I'll be there. So let me go back and read some of the comments. Somebody Level Up, single mom 6143 said, "Hey, hi." Said, "Hi, Mama. They're talking to you." I'm gonna be true to me. Said, "Hi, hey, Mama." So, Mama, they talking to you. Tea Time Beauty. The summits are always great and life changing. And then she also says, "Wow, I will be checking that out. Thank you so much." So what I'll do is I'll put the link to the waiting list, right? Is it the
Hmm.
waiting list? So Marissa will give me the link to the waiting list, or I can look it up, and I'll add that to the description. Okay, so that you guys can get on that waiting list for the summit. So as we close out today, this part, Marissa, what would you like to say?
Hmm. I guess you are, yeah, you're already enough, right? As you are, in trying to, again, seek out all these things that we're told to seek. Glamazini, Rushni Cope does a really great job of always saying this on her channel, like, identify who you are first. And I wish someone would have told me that before seeking out these different things that didn't align with who I was, getting in traumatic environments, feeling like I was stuck there. If I would have had a much deeper rooting in who I am, which is not taught to us often as Black girls and Black women, that would have helped me, right? And at this age, I'm learning, oh, it's because it doesn't align with who I am. That's why it's not the right environment. But really centering your life on who you are and knowing that you have the agency to build it and create it in a way that feels good for you, I think is essential for your well-being and your self-preservation, especially during these times. So that's what I'll
Yeah.
say.
Yes, yes. And and what I'll say is I want people to understand that it's never too late to start again.
Mhm.
And there is no apology needed for having to pivot. You don't have to apologize if you need to pivot. You don't have to apologize and you don't have to explain.
Yes.
Get your pivot on if you need to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And do it, do it how you gonna do it, right? And you don't have to tell folks either, unless you want to. You want to tell them, that's fine. But if you don't, do what you need to do. And like Marissa said, understanding that you are already enough. I know we say that a lot, people say it a lot, and but some people really don't realize you don't need you don't need to be anything else other than you. You don't,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys, I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold. I just got off my first cruise. I came back from my first cruise last week, and I'm recovering from a cold. So go ahead, Marissa.
I was gonna say, comment by Danny, Tea Time Beauty, get your pivot on. I love that. That needs to be on a shirt or something. Because it's true. You have the agency and the power to pivot, to do something differently, even if no one else around you gets it. I think that's the importance of finding aligned community to assist you on that journey so that you don't have to do it by yourself. But you are free to pivot. You're free.
Yeah,
You're
that's
free.
right. You're free. You're free. Free indeed. So we're going to end now. Danny from Natural Ally D is on the live. She said, "Good evening, ladies. So glad I caught you, although at the end, love. Oh, thank you." It says, right, Colette, as long as you have the breath. I think she's talking
Mhm.
about, resetting. Tea Time Beauty said, "Get your pivot on. Be you." Great advice, ladies. Thank you. And somebody said, "God bless you, Colette. Hope you feel better soon." Thank you. So I want to thank my little sister Harriet, um, who again her birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday. She turned 32.
Thank
And
you.
my birthday is today, and I turned 60. So, Mama, you're gonna have to move up the age you letting people think you are. I know people think you're 35, but don't the math ain't mathing if you got a 60-year-old child. So, we talked about that before you got on earlier. But anyway, I want to say thank you, ladies, for being here. We're going
Yes.
to do a part two. You will get the information. Marissa will send that out, right?
Hmm.
And, thank you so much. All right. Bye. Oh,
Bye.
let's sing happy birthday to Marissa real quick. Let's do the black one. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. All right. Talk
Thank
to you,
you.
lady. Talk to you guys later. Thank you, guys.
Bye,
Love you
y'all.
guys. Okay, stay on, Marissa. I think I know how to end this.